The room was still warm from the morning sun, yet the empty mug on the desk was the thing that caught her eye, lipstick smudged in a shade she never wore. Emma Parker stood there for a moment, backpack half slipped from her shoulder, feeling as if that abandoned cup mirrored something she hadn't been brave enough to name. The window was slightly open, letting in a breeze that smelled of late summer grass and old brick, and the curtains moved in slow, thoughtful waves. It looked like a room holding its breath. It looked like she had walked into a version of herself she wasn't ready to meet. The realization stirred something deep and unresolved, nudging an ache she didn't understand yet. Emma, 20, with brown hair that refused to stay tucked behind her ears and eyes the color of dark amber, had always carried herself with a quiet caution. A girl who overthought, who apologized even when no one was hurt, who walked fast across campus as if trying to outrun her own hesitations. Today, though, something else sat under her skin, a flicker of curiosity, a soft unrest. She moved toward the mug and traced the rim lightly with her finger, as if it held the answer to why her chest felt a little crowded, a little too alive. Her breath caught when she heard footsteps echoing in the hallway, steady and unhurried. The door swung open, and Mei Lu entered with the kind of presence that instantly rearranged the room's energy. Mei, 20, Californian, skin sun-kissed like she carried a piece of Pacific light with her, had short black hair styled in an effortless wave that brushed her jawline. Her eyes were impossibly expressive, dark and bright at once, and she always smelled faintly of citrus and fabric softener. She shut the door with her hip, earphones hanging loosely around her neck, music still leaking faintly from them like a private soundtrack she carried everywhere. When she spotted Emma, she paused, eyebrows rising in soft surprise. "You're back early," she said, her voice warm and smooth, a tone that always made Emma straighten a bit without knowing why. Emma tried to smile, though her pulse betrayed her calm. "Yeah. I forgot my notes for class." May glanced at the abandoned mug on the desk, then at Emma's hands, as if reading an entire conversation that had never been spoken aloud. The sunlight caught the edge of May's cheekbone, creating a soft glow that made Emma look away a beat too late. May stepped closer to her bed, placing her phone down with the kind of care that suggested she noticed details most people missed. The room smelled different when she was in it, brighter, somehow. "You okay?" May asked, a little quieter this time, like she was asking something real. "Sure. Just tired." But it wasn't true, and Emma knew May could tell. A small crease appeared between May's brows before she let it soften again. She tossed her denim jacket over the back of a chair, the fabric brushing against Emma's elbow as she moved past. It was accidental, subtle, but the warmth of that brief contact lingered like a secret Emma wasn't supposed to feel. Their dorm room had always been small, but today it felt impossibly intimate. The hum of the air conditioner blended with Maggie Rogers' voice leaking from May's headphones. Emma tilted her head, recognizing the melody even though she'd never added the artist to her playlists. May noticed. "You like her?" May asked, picking up one of the earbuds, letting it dangle between them like an unspoken invitation. "I didn't think I did. But I guess I do now." May smiled, not the loud, carefree one she wore with friends, but the softer version, almost private. "Happens. Sometimes something fits you before you're ready to admit it." The words hung between them longer than they should. Emma swallowed, suddenly aware of how quiet the hallway had become, how close May stood, how the light painted a gentle line down May's neck. She fought the urge to look too long, to stare in a way that would reveal more than she understood. May opened her laptop and the keyboard clicked softly, filling the silence with a comforting rhythm. Emma pretended to search her bag for the notes she'd come to grab, though her hands moved slower than necessary, distracted by the awareness blooming in her chest. At one point, May looked up. Their eyes met. For a few seconds, neither of them looked away. Emma felt something shift, a small pull, delicate but undeniable, like a string tightening between 2 points. Her breath hitched, barely audible. May's gaze flicked to Emma's lips for the briefest moment before she blinked and returned to her screen, her fingers hesitating over the keys for just one heartbeat. It was subtle enough to ignore. And impossible to forget. Emma finally found the notebook she wasn't actually looking for, clutching it as if it steadied her. "I should get going," she murmured, though her feet didn't move. May rested her chin on her hand, studying her with a curious tenderness. "Emma, you don't have to rush out every time I look at you." The sentence wasn't teasing. It wasn't heavy. It was simply honest. And it landed somewhere deep inside Emma, where truths had been quietly piling up without permission. She opened her mouth to respond, but nothing coherent formed. May tilted her head, a tiny gesture, one that made Emma wish she understood her own reactions better. Emma backed toward the door, fingertips brushing the wooden frame, feeling the cool texture contrast with the warmth rising under her skin. May gave her a small smile, patient, knowing, almost like she was waiting for Emma to catch up with herself. "See you later." "Yeah," Emma whispered. "Later." She stepped into the hallway, leaving behind the faint scent of citrus, the music still whispering from the laptop, and a silence charged with something new. Before she closed the door, she looked back. May was still watching her, her expression unreadable but open, like a page Emma wasn't brave enough to turn yet. The door clicked softly, but the feeling didn't fade. It followed her down the hall, a pull in her chest, a question unfinished, a confession forming somewhere she couldn't reach yet. She didn't know what it meant. Only that something had begun. Emma woke the next morning to the soft glow of California's sun sneaking through the thin dorm curtains, warm stripes of gold drifting across her sheets like an invitation she wasn't ready to name. The campus outside was already alive, bicycles rolling over gravel, distant laughter, the faint hum of lawn sprinklers misting the air with the scent of wet earth. But inside the room, everything felt softer, quieter, as if the world slowed just enough to let her notice the things she'd ignored before. May was still asleep, one arm thrown over her face, hair mussed in a way that made her look younger, unguarded. Her breathing was slow, steady. Emma watched her for a moment, the comfort of the shared space pressing gently against her ribs. The room smelled faintly of citrus from May's shampoo and of Emma's lavender detergent, a blend that felt strangely intimate. She found herself smiling before she realized it. Then May stirred, blinking at the sunlight. "Morning," May murmured, voice husky with sleep. "Morning," Emma replied, her voice softer than intended. May sat up, rubbing her eyes, and Emma noticed the way the light painted her skin in warm tones, almost honey-like. Something tightened in her stomach. She pushed the feeling down, but it didn't disappear, it settled. They spent the next hour orbiting the same space, Emma tying her shoelaces while May brushed her hair, the sound of bristles soft and rhythmic, May choosing a playlist while Emma packed her books. Their movements brushed more often than usual. A shoulder grazed. Fingers bumped over a pen they both reached for. Each accidental touch landed with quiet electricity. At breakfast in the campus cafe, the air smelled of toasted bagels and cinnamon. Students chatted over steaming cups, bicycles clattered outside, and Emma found herself watching May more than watching her food. May talked with animated gestures, her bracelets chiming lightly against each other. Emma laughed harder than she expected, surprised by how easy it had become to be near her. "You never finish your coffee, do you?" May teased, nudging Emma's half-full cup. "It always gets cold too fast," Emma said, shrugging. "Or you get distracted too fast." The comment came with a subtle smirk, eyes lingering on her a moment longer than casual. Emma felt warmth crawl up her neck. That afternoon, the obstacle arrived with a simple email notification on May's phone, a bright rectangle of light on her screen that changed the air around them. "Damn," May whispered, exhaling sharply. "What happened?" Emma asked, instinctively leaning closer. "My volunteer shift at the arts festival got moved to the whole weekend. Like, all day Saturday and Sunday." Emma tried to hide her disappointment, but her shoulders dipped anyway. They had planned to visit the lake trail that weekend, nothing dramatic, just a walk, fresh air, maybe a picnic. Something normal. Something she'd been quietly looking forward to far more than she should. That sucks, Emma said, fighting the heaviness in her tone. Yeah. I'm really sorry. May touched Emma's wrist lightly, a quick, warm press of her fingers, before pulling back. The touch was so brief it could have been imagined, but Emma felt it long after. They walked back to the dorm together, leaves crunching lightly on the path, the breeze cool enough to raise tiny goosebumps along Emma's arms. May noticed and offered her hoodie. Emma resisted. I'm fine. Take it. You're shivering. Emma accepted reluctantly, slipping into the oversized hoodie that smelled distinctly of May, citrus, laundry soap, a faint hint of jasmine. The scent wrapped around her like a confession she wasn't ready to hear. She tried to keep her breathing steady. Inside the dorm, they found themselves doing homework side by side on May's bed, mostly because Emma's desk chair had mysteriously become uncomfortable the moment May suggested working together. Soft music played in the background, some indie acoustic song with delicate guitar notes that felt like they filled every corner of the room. The distance between their knees kept shrinking, almost innocent, almost not. At one point, May leaned across Emma to grab a highlighter, her hair brushing Emma's cheek. The contact was feather-light but sent a shiver through Emma's entire spine. Sorry, May whispered, breath ghosting along Emma's skin. It's okay, Emma whispered back, though her pulse betrayed her. Minutes later, they took a break, lying side by side on the bed, staring at the tiny glow-in-the-dark stars May had stuck to the ceiling. Their shoulders touched. Neither moved away. The air between them felt warm and fragile, like something they could break simply by breathing too loud. You ever feel like you're changing faster than you can keep up? May asked. Emma swallowed. Lately, yeah. May turned her head slightly, her hair brushing the pillow. Me too. The room was so quiet Emma could hear her own heartbeat, steady, then unsteady. May's fingers moved inches from hers, inching closer, stopping just before they touched. Emma thought, for a moment, that she would close the gap. She didn't. Instead, May let her knuckles rest near Emma's, close enough to warm the skin, far enough to deny any certainty. Later that evening, they cooked instant noodles together in the communal kitchen, steam rising into the fluorescent light. May bumped Emma's hip playfully while reaching for a spoon, and Emma bumped back. They laughed, and their laughter echoed down the corridor in a way that made the space feel alive. At one moment, the two reached for the same pot handle, hands colliding, and neither pulled away instantly. Emma felt her breath stutter, May's eyes flicked to her lips again, a fraction of a second, quick enough to deny, long enough to imprint. A knock on the kitchen door broke the spell, a resident asking to borrow a bowl. They stepped apart, the distance sudden and unwelcome. Emma felt the warmth drain from her palms. May cleared her throat lightly, not looking away for too long. When they returned to the room, May stood by her bed, fingers fidgeting with the hem of her shirt. Hey, about the weekend, she began. Emma waited, heart pressing painfully against her ribs. May gave her a soft, hopeful smile, the kind that felt like a doorway cracked open. I can't do the trail. But, there's a campus bonfire next Friday. Maybe we could go together. Just us. Just us. 2 words that rewrote Emma's breathing. She nodded. I'd like that. May's expression brightened, gentle and full of possibilities. Then. Friday, after class. Emma hesitated, not from doubt, but from the ache of wanting more than she understood. Yeah. Friday. May stepped closer, close enough that Emma felt the heat of her body, close enough that their foreheads might have touched if either leaned in an inch more. May looked at her mouth, then her eyes, then opened hers softly as if she were about to say something important. But she didn't. She stepped back instead, voice a quiet promise. Friday. The week moved slowly, as if each day were stretching itself just to make Emma notice every small thing she wasn't used to feeling. By Wednesday, the anticipation for Friday's bonfire had become its own kind of gravity, gentle, persistent, pulling her thoughts back toward May even when she tried focusing on anything else. She found herself replaying small moments, the brush of May's fingers over her wrist, the softness in her voice when she said, "Just us," the warmth of her hoodie wrapped around Emma's shoulders. It was all subtle, but none of it felt small. Thursday night, May invited her to the art building under the pretense of returning a borrowed camera lens. The hallway lights buzzed faintly, and the smell of acrylic paint lingered in the air, sharp but warm, familiar in a way Emma hadn't expected. May walked a little ahead, humming to herself, fingers grazing the edge of each door frame as they passed. Emma followed, watching the loose sway of her sweatshirt, the way her hair brushed her neck. The world felt muted around them, the only sounds their shared footsteps and the distant hum of a custodian's cart. "We could cut through the darkroom," May said, glancing back at her with a mischievous softness. "No one's using it this late." Emma swallowed, feeling a flutter she couldn't name. "Sure. Lead the way." Inside, the darkroom wasn't fully dark, only dim red light shimmered from the corner, casting warm shadows that blurred the edges of everything. It smelled faintly of chemicals and metal trays, but also something gentler, like damp paper. The temperature was warmer there too, as if the room were holding on to the heat of the day. May stepped close to examine a tray of prints left behind by another class. Emma hovered near the door, unsure what to do with her hands, her breath, her heart. May turned slightly, her voice a whisper. "Come here. Look at this one." Emma approached, each step feeling louder than it should. When she reached May, they stood shoulder to shoulder, their arms brushing gently, skin against fabric. The warmth shot straight up Emma's spine. May lifted a print with delicate fingers, holding it toward the soft light. "See the blur? It's not a mistake," she said. "Sometimes movement tells you more than stillness." Emma wasn't looking at the print. She was looking at May's profile, the curve of her jaw, the focus in her eyes, the tiny scar above her eyebrow she'd never noticed before. May sensed the gaze, turning her head slowly until their eyes locked. Emma felt her breath catch, her skin warming under the weight of that attention. "You're quiet," May murmured. "I'm just taking things in." "You always do." The silence that followed wasn't awkward. It was charged, full of things neither knew how to say. May set the photograph down gently, letting her hand fall to her side. Emma's fingers brushed against it, lightly, unintentionally, but this time neither pulled away. Their hands remained close, separated by a breath of air that felt too thin to stay. May lifted her gaze again, searching Emma's face for something, permission, maybe. Or truth. Emma didn't step back. She couldn't. A sudden sound echoed in the hallway, a locker door slamming, and both girls startled. May exhaled a breathy laugh, stepping back only an inch, but the loss of proximity made Emma's chest tighten. "Come on. Before someone locks us in here," May teased, though her voice was a touch too soft. On the walk back, they shared May's umbrella despite the fact that the sky wasn't fully committed to raining. It was more of a mist, cold and fine, catching in the glow of the lamp posts. Their arms touched as they walked, their shoulders nudging occasionally, and each nudge felt intentional even if it wasn't. "You're freezing again," May said, brushing a hand against Emma's arm. "Always," Emma replied, almost joking. "I'll fix that on Friday." Emma pretended she didn't hear the implication in May's tone, warm, promising, but her heart reacted instantly. Friday arrived with a crisp autumn breeze, leaves swirling across campus in russet spirals. Emma couldn't focus in any class, even her professor's voice sounded distant, muffled by the echo of May's smile in her memory. By the time the sun dipped behind the theater building, she was already walking toward the bonfire pit. The campus green smelled of smoke and pine as students gathered around the flames. Music played from a portable speaker, and someone was roasting marshmallows nearby. Emma searched the crowd until she spotted May, standing with her hands in the pockets of her jacket, light from the fire painting her skin in soft gold. When she saw Emma, May's whole face changed. A softer smile. Something warmer, something private. "You came," May said, stepping closer. "Of course I did." They stood by the fire, the heat brushing their legs and the scent of burning wood filling the space between them. May moved a little nearer, their arms touching. Neither shifted away. The warmth of the flames mixed with the warmth of May, and Emma felt like she was melting into something she didn't understand. Later, they drifted away from the crowd, walking along a path lined with lanterns. The air was cooler there, quiet except for the faint buzz of insects and the distant crackle of fire behind them. May shoved her hands into her pockets, brushing Emma's side with each step. "I like being with you," May said suddenly, voice soft. Emma stopped walking. "I like being with you too." May turned to face her fully, stepping closer, so close the cold air between them warmed instantly. She reached up and brushed a strand of hair from Emma's cheek, a slow, careful gesture that felt like a question. "Emma," May whispered, her eyes flicking from Emma's eyes to her lips and back again. Emma didn't run. She didn't overthink. She simply existed in that moment, breath shallow, heart open, wanting without knowing how to hide it. May leaned in, hesitating only when their foreheads nearly touched, giving Emma space to step back if she wanted. Emma didn't. She tilted slightly forward, closing the tiny space between them. Their lips met in the softest, briefest kiss Emma had ever imagined, more air than contact, more emotion than action. It was a tremor, a whisper of warmth, barely pressure, but it sent a wave of something overwhelming through her chest. May's hand found Emma's jaw gently, holding her in place for just a heartbeat longer, deepening nothing but the meaning behind the touch. When they parted, they did so by millimeters. May's breath brushed Emma's mouth, warm and shaky. "I've wanted to do that for a while," May admitted, barely audible. Emma exhaled shakily, unable to trust her voice. "Me too, I think." Their eyes held that moment, full of possibility, fear, wonder. But then a group of students passed by, laughing loudly, breaking the fragile bubble around them. Emma stepped back instinctively, heart hammering. The cold rushed in, replacing the warmth of May's hand. May blinked, her expression shifting, not hurt, but searching. "Emma, hey, it's okay." Emma nodded too quickly. I need a minute." May took a slow breath, hands sliding into her pockets again as if resisting the urge to reach out. "Take your minute. Just don't disappear on me, okay?" Emma nodded but didn't answer. She turned toward the dim path leading back to the dorms, feeling the ghost of the kiss still on her lips, tender, confusing, beautiful. Every step away felt heavy, wrong, necessary. Behind her, May stayed where she was, illuminated by lantern light, watching Emma walk away with a look that held equal parts hope and uncertainty. And Emma felt every ounce of that uncertainty settle inside her as the night swallowed her back into silence. Emma avoided the art building for 2 days after the kiss, not because she wanted distance, but because she was terrified of how close she suddenly felt to losing control of every certainty she'd built about herself. Each morning she woke with the memory of May's lips lingering like a warm, fragile bruise on her heart. Each night she replayed it, the heat of the bonfire, the lantern glow on May's skin, the way their breaths had tangled as if asking permission neither had spoken aloud. But with the memory came fear, old echoes she didn't know she carried. Fear of wanting too much. Fear of wanting the wrong thing. Fear of wanting a girl. By Monday, the air on campus had shifted, cooler, sharper, smelling of eucalyptus and wet pavement from the early rain. The symbol she had been running from appeared again, an open door, this time the classroom door of her afternoon literature seminar, half open, light spilling through the crack as if beckoning her. It reminded her of the night she'd first walked in on May, of the moment her world had quietly tilted. Now that same image pulled her forward again, towards something she didn't yet understand. Inside stood Dr. Alessia Marin, the new substitute professor. She was in her mid-30s, Italian-American, with a composed elegance that made her look like she'd stepped out of a black and white film. Dark, wavy hair brushed her shoulders, her voice carried an accent softened by years in the States but still musical, warm. She wore a soft charcoal sweater and thin metal bracelets that chimed lightly when she moved. As she adjusted papers on the desk, the sleeve of her sweater slid back to reveal a faint ink stain on her wrist, a tiny imperfection that made Emma's stomach tighten unexpectedly. Emma walked in quietly, but Alessia noticed immediately. "You must be Emma," she said, smiling in a way that felt both welcoming and searching. "Yeah. Sorry, I'm early." "Early is good. It means you're curious." Emma hesitated. "Or anxious." Alessia tilted her head with gentle playfulness. "The two often look alike." Emma laughed softly, then felt her cheeks warm. She sat in her usual seat, but Alessia drifted toward her, not enough to intrude, just enough to create a subtle pulse of attention. The classroom smelled faintly of chalk dust and the rain-soaked air coming through the cracked window. Alessia leaned against the desk, arms crossed loosely. "Your previous essays were thoughtful. You read beyond the surface. That's rare." Emma blinked, unprepared for the directness. "Thank you. I'm trying." "Don't try. Feel. Literature is only alive when we're brave enough to let it touch what we keep hidden." Emma swallowed. The sentence felt far too pointed, far too reflective of the turmoil inside her. She wondered if Alessia could see it on her face, the confusion, the yearning, the fear. When the class filled, Emma tried to focus on the discussion, but her eyes kept drifting to the ink stain on Alessia's wrist, the curve of her mouth as she spoke, the way she made eye contact as if she could read emotions Emma didn't mean to show. She felt split open in ways she didn't know how to manage. By evening, the conflict inside her had sharpened. May had sent a simple message, "Want to study together later?" Emma typed a reply twice and erased it both times. Her heart wanted one thing. Her fear wanted another. She put her phone face down and left it there. When she looked up, the open door symbol appeared again, the door of a small campus cafe, pushed slightly ajar by the wind. And there inside, as if summoned by Emma's uncertainty, sat Alessia at a corner table, reading a worn paperback under warm ambient lights. Emma hesitated only a second before entering. The cafe smelled of espresso and baked bread, soft jazz playing low from old speakers. Alessia looked up as Emma approached, expression brightening with recognition. "Twice in one day," Alessia said, closing her book with a soft thud. "Either fate is bored, or we're on similar paths." Emma smiled awkwardly. "I didn't mean to interrupt." "You aren't interrupting. Sit with me." It wasn't a request. It wasn't a command. It was an invitation crafted in warmth. Emma sat, pulse fluttering in her throat. They talked for nearly an hour, about books, about growing up in small towns, about uncertainty and the courage it demanded. Alessia listened in a way that made Emma feel seen, not in fragments, but as a whole. At one point, Alessia reached across the table to brush a crumb from Emma's sleeve. Her fingers barely grazed the fabric, yet the contact sent a current through Emma's body. "You're carrying something heavy," Alessia said softly. "You don't have to tell me what. Just don't pretend it's not there." Emma's breath hitched. "I'm just confused. About someone. About myself." Their eyes locked, and something unspoken passed between them, a recognition, an echo. Alessia exhaled, slow and controlled, as if weighing a boundary she shouldn't cross. But the air between them felt intimate, fragile. "Walk with me?" Alessia asked finally. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the campus shimmering under the glow of street lamps. They walked side by side, close enough to share warmth. Emma kept noticing tiny things, the soft tapping of Alessia's rings against her coffee cup, the scent of sandalwood lingering on her coat, the calm steadiness of her presence. They reached the faculty parking lot, empty and quiet. Alessia stopped beside her car, turning toward Emma, the cool air lifting strands of her wavy hair. "Emma," she began, voice low. "If I've overstepped tonight, tell me now." Emma's breath trembled. "You haven't." The answer came too quickly, too honestly. For a moment, neither moved. Alessia reached out, slowly, visibly, giving Emma time to pull away, and tucked a strand of Emma's hair behind her ear. Her fingers brushed Emma's cheek, warm and gentle. Emma didn't step back. Alessia's hand lingered for the briefest moment. "You deserve to understand what your heart is trying to tell you." Emma's pulse quickened. "I don't know what it's saying." "Then maybe, follow where it leads." The next move came like a slow exhale. Alessia leaned in, hesitant, balanced on restraint, and Emma didn't retreat. Their lips met softly, cautiously, as if tasting the possibility rather than claiming it. It was a different kind of kiss than the one with May, slower, deeper, infused with a longing Emma didn't know how to categorize. A warm ache bloomed in her chest. When the kiss ended, Emma felt dizzy, from emotion, not impulse. Alessia rested her forehead lightly against Emma's. "You're trembling," Alessia whispered. "I don't know what I'm doing." No one does, the first time they're honest with themselves. Emma stepped back then, not running, not rejecting, but overwhelmed. I need to think." Alessia nodded, her expression soft but restrained. "Of course. Take whatever time you need." But as Emma turned to leave, her phone vibrated in her pocket. A message from May. "Are you okay? Haven't seen you today. I miss you." Emma froze, breath stuck, heart divided. The screen glowed like a truth she wasn't ready to face. She typed a reply, "I'm fine. Just tired." Then, after staring at it too long, she erased the message entirely. Instead, she slipped the phone back into her pocket. When she looked over her shoulder, Alessia was watching her quietly, her expression unreadable, illuminated by the dim, flickering lamp of the parking lot. Emma walked away without looking back again, but her thoughts spun wildly, May's warmth, Alessia's steadiness, her own fear twisting around every choice she hadn't made. By the time she reached her dorm, Emma stood at her door, hand on the knob, heart pounding. She pushed the door open only a crack, half-open door, warmth spilling out, the familiar scent of May's citrus shampoo drifting faintly. Inside, May slept peacefully, her breathing steady, unaware of the storm Emma carried. Emma hesitated, one foot in, one foot out, caught between two truths and the version of herself she didn't yet know how to choose. The door remained half open. The decision, half made. Emma barely slept that night. The dorm room felt too small, too charged, as if every memory of May lived in the air itself, the citrus scent on her pillow, the soft rustle of her blankets, the warmth that always lingered on her side of the room even after she left. Across the darkness, May breathed steadily, unaware of the storm twisting inside Emma's chest. Every time Emma closed her eyes, she saw two versions of herself, one standing beneath lantern light with May's lips trembling toward hers, and another kissing Alessia under the orange glow of the parking lot. By sunrise, Emma sat on the edge of her bed, elbows on her knees, staring at the window as faint morning light painted pale streaks across the wall. The same window where she'd once noticed an abandoned mug and felt something shift inside her. The image echoed now, heavier. Back then she'd felt something awaken. Now she felt something press for truth. May stirred, stretching with a quiet groan, hair falling into her eyes. When she glanced toward Emma, the softness in her morning gaze made Emma's heart tug painfully. "You're up early," May whispered, voice still thick with sleep. "Couldn't really shut my brain off." May sat up slowly, hugging her knees. "Do you want to talk about it?" Emma hesitated. She could lie. She could dodge. She could protect herself with silence the way she had her entire life. Instead, she let the truth sit on her tongue like something fragile, afraid to break. "I made things complicated." May blinked, processing. "Because of the kiss. Because of everything." For a moment, May didn't speak. She just watched Emma, not with judgment, not with hurt, but with a gentle steadiness that made Emma want to fold into her arms and disappear. "Emma, look at me." Emma did. "I don't expect you to have everything figured out. I don't even expect you to choose anything yet. Just, don't shut me out. That's the only thing that would really hurt." Emma felt her throat close, emotion climbing fast. "I don't want to hurt you. Then be honest with me." Before Emma could speak, May reached out and brushed her fingers against Emma's, an invitation but not a demand. Emma didn't pull away, but she didn't hold on either. The half-touch hung between them, incomplete. Later that day, the conflict became impossible to ignore. Alessia requested a meeting after class to review Emma's draft essay. Emma knew it wasn't really about the essay, not after the kiss, not after the look in Alessia's eyes as Emma walked away the night before. She went anyway. The campus hallway smelled of polished wood and faint lemon cleaner. Alessia's office door was cracked open, another mirror to the symbol that had followed Emma for weeks. Emma knocked lightly, and Alessia looked up from her desk with an expression that softened too quickly to be just professional. "Emma. Come in." Emma stepped inside, heart pounding as Alessia closed the door gently behind her. The room was warm, lit by a single lamp, the air filled with the scent of sandalwood and old books. Alessia leaned against the edge of her desk, arms loosely folded. "You left quickly last night," she said, voice lower than usual. "I was overwhelmed. I know. I shouldn't have kissed you. I crossed a line." The admission surprised Emma. Alessia's composure cracked for the first time, not with weakness, but with sincerity. "You didn't force anything," Emma said. "I kissed you back." Alessia let out a slow breath, as if relieved and regretful at once. "That doesn't make it less complicated." Emma's hands shook slightly. "I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't know what's mine and what's fear." Alessia stepped closer. Not touching, just close enough that Emma felt her warmth. "Then let me say one thing clearly. Whatever you choose, choose the person who lets you breathe. Not the one who confuses the air you need with the air you're afraid of." Emma felt the words settle deep in her chest. "Alessia, last night meant something. But it didn't feel like a beginning." Alessia nodded slowly, eyes reflecting both understanding and loss. "I thought that might be true. And for what it's worth, you deserve someone who sees you with both certainty and softness." Emma felt tears sting her eyes. "I think I already have that. I just didn't know how to face it." Alessia touched Emma's arm lightly, a final gesture, not a lingering one. "Then go. Before you lose it." Emma exhaled shakily. "Thank you." As she reached the door, Alessia spoke once more. "Don't let fear look like choice." Emma froze, the truth of it hitting deep. She left the office feeling lighter and heavier at once, lighter from clarity, heavier from the weight of returning to the person she had almost pushed away. By the time Emma returned to the dorm, The sun had dipped behind the buildings, casting long amber streaks across the hallway floor. Her heart hammered as she approached the room. The door was half open, the same image from the beginning, the symbol she'd run from again and again. This time, she pushed it fully open. May sat cross-legged on the bed, sketching something in her notebook. She looked up when she heard Emma enter. And the moment their eyes met, Emma felt the truth settle inside her, simple, grounded, undeniable. May stood slowly, notebook slipping shut. "Are you okay?" she asked softly. Emma nodded once, though emotion constricted her throat. "I'm sorry for disappearing. I shouldn't have done that to you." May's shoulders relaxed, relief blooming across her face. "I wasn't angry. Just scared I'd misread everything." Emma stepped closer, drawn by something she no longer resisted. "You didn't misread anything." May let out a breath, the kind that sounded like she'd been holding it for days. "Then talk to me." Emma tried, she did, but words failed. Instead, she reached forward and gently took May's hand. Their fingers intertwined easily, naturally, as if they had always been waiting for the chance. "I kissed someone else," Emma whispered, voice trembling. May didn't flinch. "I know. I'm not asking for perfection, Emma. Just honesty." Emma's voice cracked. "It didn't feel like you. Nothing feels like you." For the first time, May's eyes shimmered, not with hurt, but with something tender, relief mixing with affection. "Come here," she whispered. Emma stepped into her, letting May wrap her arms around her waist. The embrace wasn't urgent. It wasn't desperate. It was grounding, warm, full-bodied, and steady. Emma breathed in the familiar scent of citrus and softness, feeling something inside her settle for the first time in weeks. May pulled back slightly, her hand still resting on Emma's waist. "Before anything else, I need to know you're sure." Emma lifted her gaze, her voice clear for the first time. "I'm sure of you." The words hung softly between them, warm as candlelight. May brushed her fingers along Emma's cheek, tracing a slow line that made Emma's breath hitch. "Then let me in. On your time. On your terms." Emma leaned forward, closing the distance slowly, giving May time to pull away if she wanted. She didn't. Their lips met in a tender, lingering kiss, deeper than the first, full of emotion rather than hesitation. May's hand slid up to cradle Emma's jaw, while Emma's fingers tightened gently at May's waist. The kiss was warm, slow, a promise made of breath and courage. When they parted, foreheads touching, Emma felt tears slip down her cheeks. "I'm scared," May whispered. "Then we'll be scared together." They kissed again, not hungrily, but with the quiet intensity of two people choosing each other fully for the first time. And later, when they lay together in the dim dorm room, the world hushed around them, their touches remained soft and unhurried. May's hand traced slow patterns on Emma's back, and Emma pressed her face into May's shoulder, breathing in the scent that had become her anchor. Their bodies fit gently, naturally, exploring without haste, guided by tenderness rather than urgency. It was an intimacy woven from warmth, from sighs shared against skin, from the soft slide of fingers across shoulders and the quiet rhythm of breath sinking. The night wasn't marked by anything loud or dramatic, only by a deep, unfolding truth: Emma wasn't lost anymore. She had chosen the place where she felt held, understood, free. Hours later, as dawn returned and soft gold seeped through the window, Emma sat up slowly. May was still asleep beside her, hair fanned across the pillow, lips slightly parted. Emma looked around the room, and her gaze landed again on the window with its curtain half open, the same morning light brushing across the desk. But now the image bore a new meaning. The open space didn't symbolize confusion. It symbolized possibility. Freedom. Beginning. Emma smiled, brushing May's hair gently behind her ear, a gesture full of tenderness. Sometimes, the heart needs to get lost before it recognizes where it truly belongs. We're so glad you made it this far. If this story touched your heart, please consider subscribing to Secret Garden Stories, leaving a comment, and sharing it with friends, forums, and social media. Your support helps this channel grow and build a world with more love and less prejudice. Tulip. Thank you for being here.